The region now known as Angola was inhabited by Khoisan-speaking hunter-gatherers before being gradually displaced by Bantu-speaking agriculturalists around 2000 BC. Bantu migrations brought advanced tools, farming techniques, and social structures, leading to the rise of kingdoms, such as the Kingdom of Congo, 14th century, which became a dominant regional power. Kingdom of Congo. The Kingdom of Congo was centered around northern Angola and parts of present-day Congo and Gabon. It had a sophisticated political and social system and traded extensively with neighboring regions. Portuguese explorers arrived in the late 15th century, establishing relations with the kingdom. Colonial period. Portuguese arrival. In 1482, Portuguese navigator Diogo Chao reached Angola's coast, initiating contact with local kingdoms. Portugal established trade posts and became involved in the Atlantic slave trade, sourcing slaves from Angola to supply labor for plantations in Brazil and the Caribbean. Imposition of colonial rule. During the 16th and 17th centuries, Portugal gradually extended control over coastal areas and established the colony of Angola in 1575, centered around Luanda. The slave trade devastated local populations, as millions of Angolans were forcibly taken to the Americas over several centuries. Resistance. Resistance to Portuguese rule was fierce, with notable leaders like Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba, 1583 to 1663, who resisted colonization and Portuguese dominance through diplomacy and warfare. 20th century. Path to independence. Decline of the slave trade. The abolition of the transatlantic slave trade in the 19th century led to shifts in Angola's economy, with increased focus on agriculture, mining, and forced labor systems. Colonial exploitation. By the 20th century, Portugal implemented harsh labor policies and exploited Angola's natural resources, causing widespread discontent. Independence movements. Inspired by global decolonization trends, Angolan nationalists formed liberation movements, including the MPLA, People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola, UNITA, National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, and FNLA, National Front for the Liberation of Angola. A 14-year war for independence began in 1961, marked by armed resistance and brutal Portuguese repression. Post-independence and civil war. Independence, 1975. Angola gained independence from Portugal on November 11, 1975, after the Portuguese Carnation Revolution ended colonial rule. However, rival nationalist factions, backed by Cold War superpowers, plunged the country into a devastating civil war. Civil War, 1975 to 2002. The MPLA, supported by the Soviet Union and Cuba, clashed with UNITA, backed by the United States and South Africa. The war caused immense suffering, with millions displaced and tens of thousands killed. Peace agreement. The death of UNITA leader Jonas Savimbi in 2002 led to a ceasefire, marking the end of the civil war. Modern Angola. Reconstruction and challenges. Angola has focused on rebuilding its infrastructure and economy, heavily reliant on oil exports. Corruption, inequality, and lingering effects of the civil war continue to pose challenges. Cultural heritage. Angola's culture reflects a blend of African, Portuguese, and indigenous traditions, seen in its music, dance, e.g., kizomba and semba, and cuisine. Current developments. Angola remains a key player in southern Africa, balancing economic growth with efforts to address social issues and diversify its economy.